Welcome back, everyone. My name is Elana. I'm here with my friend Jason. You are listening to Ex Post Watcho, where we revisit movies from several years ago and see if they hold up. This week we are talking about The Last Unicorn from 1982. It is an animated American-British-Japanese production. Jason, have you seen The Last Unicorn?
I have not seen it. I hadn't even heard about it until you told me about it like a week or two ago.
This shocks me because this is such a huge movie for my household. It's based on a novel written in 1968 called The Last Unicorn by Peter Begal. He wrote an animated version of Lord of the Rings. And in 87, this was voted, Locus subscribers voted, I don't know what that is, all-time best fantasy novel. So this is like a well-known book, I guess, in the fantasy realm in the 80s anyway. Essentially, a unicorn learns that she's the last of her kind because there is a malevolent force that's herded all the unicorns to the ends of the earth. And so she goes on a journey to find these unicorns and see if she can kind of save them. I don't really want to say too much because this movie is very strange. It gave me kind of uncomfortable feelings while also being very comforting. I think it's pretty dark for a kids movie. I don't even know if we call it a kids movie. Like, I feel like this is just as appealing to fantasy nerds who are like grown adults as it is to maybe kids because of the animated element. It's a bit weird, or that's how I remember it, and being a bit like, yeah, uncomfortable, kind of labyrinth, dark, crystal-y vibes, but animated. I know I definitely don't want to say too much because I want you to have like a virgin experience, The Last Unicorn virgin experience. I don't know if so you said you hadn't heard of it. I don't know if you like doing research. You haven't looked into it too much, have you?
No, I won't really do any of that until after I see it. I think the title kind of rings a bell. Like, there's a non-zero amount of awareness, but like, that's about it. Like, couldn't picture what it looks like. Don't know anything about it. I was never big into like fantasy stuff. So probably if this came across my path, I just wouldn't have been interested in it. Sounds cool, you know, like tell me you got an animated movie from the 80s. I would like to see that. I kind of miss animation as it existed once upon a time. It's sort of unfortunate today that seems to be like a completely dead art, you know, traditional animation. It was really hard to do, so there's, you know, clear reasons why, but I'm hoping this will look good, and I don't know, sounds weird, sounds funky.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, I was never a big fantasy person either, but I like sort of fantastical things when I was a kid, and I definitely really loved unicorns. I had a purple unicorn-themed bedroom for a long time when I was a kid, and I definitely did not see this like in theaters or anything. This came out before we were around. But it's got a really great cast. Alan Arkin, Jeff Bridges, Mia Farrow, Angela Lansbury, Christopher Lee. Anyway, a lot of really great voices on this, and I think you'll like it. But yeah, I don't want to say too much because I'm really looking forward to seeing what your experience is going to be like. And honestly, I haven't seen this in well over 10 years at least. So I'm really looking forward to revisiting it because I watched this quite often when I was a wee one. So with all that said, let's go watch The Last Unicorn. Okay, so we have just finished watching The Last Unicorn. Jason, for the very first time. Jason, I am incredibly curious. What were your impressions of this movie?
This was an interesting experience. I like the visual presentation of it a lot. I really like the animation, the art style, and the colors. I said in the intro, I'm kind of sad that hand-drawn animation seems to be out of fashion these days, and this is a good example of like why I miss that. Like, I think this has a lot of character to it, and I really like that. I think the story and the characters are a little bit thin and kind of messy. I found the main characters character and journey a little weird. The voice acting is like a mixed bag. I think there's some good performances, and I think there's some just kind of performances that left me a bit flat. I hated the soundtrack at first. By the end, I loved it. I think that's actually one of the highlights of this movie is the strange choice of music they went for it. And I guess what I was most surprised about, I was not expecting that many breasts to be in this movie and to take the form they took.
Right.
I would not have predicted that. So overall, fairly positive on it. I'm glad I watched it. I would watch it again, but just kind of left me flat in a couple ways.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from on all of your points. I mentioned like this was one of my favorite movies growing up. I loved this. I still really love it for many reasons, but this one disappointed me a little bit. I probably would have come in expecting to give it like a little bit more love than I probably have for it now. But I still enjoyed watching it. There were a lot of things, of course, that I really remembered about it and took me back. Still have those very unsettled, uncomfortable feelings about a lot of the things in this movie. So good to know I wasn't just like a freaked out child. It was legitimately very strange and uncomfortable. I think I would actually like to go and read this book to fill in some of the gaps, because I think you're right. I think like the story, I mean, there's an obvious goal that needs to be achieved here, but the way they do that and sort of, especially this unicorn's journey, especially when she turns into this woman, it was a bit confusing. And some of these side characters were sort of, well, we'll get into it, but questionable and maybe also in some cases really useless in terms of the film. So I'm wondering if they had more depth in the book, which I'm sure they did.
Yeah, so my first impression watching this, the first half of the movie, I knew it was based on a book, but I was getting the impression that it was based on a book that was like 20 pages. I was like, this is based on a kid's book that is like, it's a picture of a unicorn, and it's like, she's the last unicorn, the squirrel told her, or these guys told her, because it just seemed like the amount of stuff that was happening and the way it was being explained was really like, hey, did you know you're the last unicorn? Okay, bye. Yeah. but then the second half of the movie or so, I was like, oh no, this is based on a really long book, and there's a bunch of stuff that I'm not getting here. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm really curious to go and read this book. I'll have to put it on my list. I often say that and I don't, but I think this one will get on the list. So I don't know. Let's just get into it. We start off with an old man and a Robin Hood type on their horses strolling through the forest. One points out there is no game to hunt here. I'm not sure why. I mean, we find out it's because there's a unicorn in these woods. It's
magic forest land, so unicorns live there, and I guess you can't hunt things.
Yeah, because there are all sorts of creatures there, but
it doesn't turn to winter there.
Yeah. So then he just, like you said, he basically gives good tidings to the unicorn, and then he's like, P.S. You're the last of your kind. Bye. And they ride off, and the unicorn's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I was really confused by this. Like, apparently she's just finding this information out. Like, what has she been doing all day or all lifetime?
She's immortal, so I wonder how old she is. But I kind of got the impression that each unicorn lives in their own special forest. That seems lonely, though.
That doesn't seem like it scales very well. Whole world is just overrun with these unicorn forests. They're an invasive species.
Yeah, so she's just like, the fuck? And then we just move into our intro with this theme that I thought from the top just slaps. It's like a retro folk rock. I don't know, gave me kind of weird feelings. Felt like I should maybe be under the influence of something while I was experiencing these opening credits.
Yeah.
You didn't like it at first.
I was a little confused, I guess. I was like, oh, this is some kind of like 70s contemporary rock that's very expositional. But I by the end of the song, I was like, okay, I like this song. It's very Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Like it's that sort of 70s kind of folky, a lot of harmonies going on. Yeah. And that sound persists throughout the movie and is really good. I like it. I like the soundtrack a lot.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Webb, America, and the London Symphony Orchestra. I don't actually know Jimmy Webb and America very well. Like I don't know their catalog very well, but
I have a faint recollection of my parents' record collection and there being an America album in there and me being confused as a kid because I'm like, you can't name your band after the whole country. That's not right. But they did it. The absolute madmen.
So we come out of the credits and the unicorn, she's super stressed. She's just obsessing about there's no more unicorns. And we also find out she can be killed only if she leaves her forest. So what does she do? Leaves her forest. But before that, we get the longest fucking scene in the movie, which is bananas. This roving gambler butterfly who has some real like Robin Williams energy happening.
Yeah.
It's really chaotic.
I was getting very frustrated during this scene because she asks a question and then he like starts singing a song and then like the song stops and I'm like, okay, cool, that song's over. And then she like asks a follow-up question and he's like, well, da-da-da, and it goes into a song again. And I have this thing where like, I'm not good at understanding lyrics. There's songs I've heard thousands of times that I like that I couldn't sing the words to because when I hear music, unless the words are like really something that captures my attention or they're just like noticeable in some way, I tend to just kind of hear it as like a mess of like, I mean, I am capable of like, if I really focus, I can listen. But for the most part, my brain just kind of shuts down that language center and it just kind of interprets it as an instrument. So the whole time that guy was talking, I was just like, what is he saying? I can't understand.
It was madness. Like she was like, do you know anyone like me? And he's like, do you know the Muffin Man? And like... It was so strange. And we get sort of glimpses at her kind of bitchy attitude here. Because let's just call a spade a spade. She's kind of a bitch.
I would never use that word. But yeah, no, that was kind of my takeaway is like your first impression of her. She's just like, do you know who I am? Say my name if you know my name. She's the last Karen.
Yeah. She absolutely is.
And that personality persists throughout like the whole first chunk of the film before she's human.
Even when she's human, we'll touch on that. I had some issues with her attitude.
Her character sucks when she's human too, but it's like just in a totally different way.
Yeah. I did like one of the butterflies lines because she was asking, do you know who I am? Do you know my name? And he said, your name is a golden bell hung on my heart. What a little romantic.
Yeah, he's doing these like cute little poetry lines.
Yeah, and he's like kind of like riding her horn, which was kind of weird. And she's like, excuse me.
I did like the little butterfly dude. I did find him kind of like charming and entertaining, and I liked his little character design. I thought he was cute.
Yeah, he was. It was just a lot. And then he's really goofy, and then he gets real serious real quick. And he's just like, yeah, the Red Bull pushed all the unicorns to the sea and covered their footprints. And then she's like, again, she's like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, anyway.
Good luck.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, I need to go on a mission. So her forest friends send her off. They look all very solemn.
Which, by the way, she says later in the movie, like, I've never had a friend. And she's living in this forest, and she can clearly fucking communicate with these people. Like, she just comes across as just like, does nobody like you? Do you not talk to people? What's your deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, she's really... So we go through a time lapse, which was cool.
We get a jam.
Her running. Yeah. And then the first person she comes across, first of all, is an old man approaching her while taking off his belt. That's not the kind of energy we want to go into this with. Anyway, and he's like, come here, you beautiful mare, you beautiful horse. And she is not okay with him.
The fuck did you call me?
Yeah. Is that what you take me for? Like, calm down, gal. You look exactly like a horse, but you have a horn.
Again, it's this like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I work for?
And then, we find out, it's revealed. She says, "Oh, I forgot. Men cannot see unicorns." Oh, okay. Problem solved.
I was confused because at that point, they show her without the horn, and I was like, is this some kind of animation mistake, or does it disappear when she's not in the forest? But then they explain it.
Her shadow did have a horn, too, when the guy was approaching her with the belt.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're a man. Maybe you just didn't notice.
Well, okay. Did she mean men as in men or men as in humans?
I think men as in men, because the two other women who see her immediately recognize her as a unicorn.
Well, one of them is an evil magic woman.
That's true. It's true.
And the other one is like a regular woman. So you might be right.
None of the regular men saw her unicorn horn, except because Schmendrick's a magician.
Yeah.
So he saw her horn. So, but honestly, every man in this movie is an absolute moron and or a nightmare from hell. And I feel like this movie shaped me more than I thought, because they all suck real bad.
I think that's a little strong.
Is there one that's like
Schmendrick is moron? Like, well, okay, there's if you're going to say moron or like dirtbag, I think there's a big distinction there. I think Schmendrick is like a little bit of a moron, but he's a good guy. He's a lovable guy.
Yeah, but he's
doing his best, Schmendrick. And he's getting no fucking support from Horsey over there.
He's a Schmendrick, though. And also, okay, while we're talking about Schmendrick, this was a choice of these animators to give him the largest nose. I think that was ill-advised and a poor choice. Let's just say that.
Okay. I did not read that into it.
Everything is a choice. That was a choice. I mean,
you can have a character with a cartoonishly big nose. It just kind of depends where you go with that direction. You're going to give the one character named Schmendrick, the Yiddish word for like foolish, a fool, a giant nose. Okay, I didn't know it was a Yiddish word.
Yeah.
It sounds made up. I was like, Schmendrick. That's a fake name you give at the airport.
It's a Yiddish word. What's your name? Mr. Schmendrick.
Schmendrick.
So anyway, yeah, we meet Mommy Fortuna. Mommy, not Mama, Mommy Fortuna. This scene sticks with me. This scene still haunts me, the whole carnival scene. So she, with her giant tree hat, which is kind of cool, she sees the unicorn on the side of the road. She's just exhausted at this point because she's out of her element.
Yeah,
she's
she
like
goes
a
to
baby
sleep
that
just like laying on the side of the road. I was like, what are you doing? Like, do you have any self-preservation skills whatsoever?
She doesn't. She's never had to use them. She's like one of those rich bitch girls who like gets everything mommy and daddy do everything for her growing up. But in her case, her forest just did everything for her growing up. And now she's out in the real world and she's like, I don't know what to do. Do you know who I am? Help me.
Why isn't it working? Oh, you help me, but I'm still going to be mean to you.
Exactly. So she gets kidnapped by this evil witch woman and displayed at her carnival, which was absolutely heartbreaking because you see, so Schmendrick, he is a good guy, but he's kind of an idiot. He's like, hey, unicorn, what do you see? And she's like, oh, all these creatures, because the whole thing is like all of these creatures of the night brought to the light is the tagline. And they're all horrible and grotesque. And then she can see through the magic, the little veil Mommy Fortuna has put on them. By the way, who was voiced by Angela Lansbury. And I do not like thinking of her as an evil witch, because she's just I want to think of her as a sweet lady.
She wants to branch out, play the bad guy.
She did a great job. Yeah. So she's really upset, and then we see this harpy, which again burned into my brain till the end of time. This creature, what to say? I mean, it has 3 breasts. First of all,
it's too many.
It's too many breasts. It is absolutely livid that is in this little cage, understandably. It's the only other actual magic creature other than the unicorn. So Schmendrick, being the good guy, releases the unicorn, and then she goes and releases all these other animals, these poor little animals.
But earlier on, she's like, oh, she can keep those ones. Just let me and the harpy go because we're magic and special. So I thought she wasn't even going to let him go. Thankfully, she does.
Yeah, she had a change of heart, I guess.
Yeah, those animals were so sad, though. The old lion and monkey. The snake looked fine, but I was just like,
the snake, I guess there was magic on the bars of the cage because that snake could have just slithered right out of there.
It just wasn't very smart.
And then the unicorn goes to, who doesn't have a name until she turns into a woman, and then they give her a fake name. She goes to let the harpy free, and the harpy's like, we're sisters, come and, release me. And Schmendrick is like, no, not a good idea. And the unicorn's like, whatever. And her little horn goes, woo, woo, woo.
Her magic door opening horn that can kind of do anything whenever it needs to.
And the harpy attacks her.
I was disappointed in the harpy. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where's the solidarity? Women.
It's a harpy.
That's the theme of this movie. Women, right?
This harpy really... it's a harpy.
I don't know much about harpies, to be honest. I've heard of a harpy as like a pejorative word for a woman. That's the only context through which I understood it.
She's the queen of the harpies.
No, I'm
queen
not.
of the harpies.
No, I'm not.
Here's your crown, your majesty.
Get away from
queen
me,
of the harpies.
So then I saw one and I was like, the fuck is that? So I Googled it. And I did look at like the Wikipedia page, and the version of a harpy on that page was like, it's a bird with a lady's face. And I was like, that's not traumatizing, at least not the same way. Yeah, so it's interesting that there was like, that's, I guess there's a cultural backstory to harpies.
Yeah. But like, hey girl, unicorn, Schmendrick is warning you. She almost seemed like hypnotized by the harpy though. Again, she's very naive.
Yeah. I thought the relationship between the old woman and the harpy was kind of interesting because she had this weird thing about like, I got you. I captured you. Like, I got one over on you, and you may kill me and I may be dead, but I'll live on forever because you're immortal and you'll know that I totally owned you. And I guess that's like, yes, I did it for her, which is okay.
Yeah. What a way to go. Because that harpy goes hard when she just demolishes this old lady. When
they show the harpy like on top of her, like from behind, and it looks like the worst thing ever. Like, you're not actually seeing what's happening, but like it looks really gruesome. I was like, that's impressively violent for this sort of kids movie.
I know. They really just went there. So the unicorn and Schmendrick is like shook up, and the unicorn's like, don't run. Running attracts magical creatures. So anyway, they get out of there. The harpy can't see them, and they go on a journey, but they don't last that long because soon they are captured by outlaws, or Schmendrick is. I
just like to say, as soon as they get out of there, Schmendrick is like, hey, can I accompany you on your journey? And she's like, oh, I wish you'd ask for like anything else, but okay. You're welcome.
Yeah, she's got a real attitude problem. She needs an attitude adjustment And
I think at this point she also says, like, I can never regret, I can only feel sorrow, which is interesting. That I don't know where that fits into the DSM, but I was like, what the hell kind of personality is that? Okay, at the end, Schmendrick does say now she's the only unicorn who can regret. Great.
So I don't know. Again, maybe there's more context in the book. So yeah, they meet these outlaws. We meet Molly, who I love. She's just this like cranky woman who's tired of taking care of these, again, bunch of ragtag morons. And then Schmendrick summons Robin Hood and his whole posse? For why?
He wanted to look cool. I don't know. I kind of was like I might not have been paying enough attention at this part to know what was going on, but it also seems pretty much inconsequential to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's strange. It seems like maybe they just wanted to show off some cool animation. Does this happen in the book? This was really where I was like, I need to read this book, because why did they put this? What was this point of this?
This feels like a moment that would have been longer in the book. Like,
yeah,
this whole Schmendrick gets captured and then she has to like save him and we meet Molly. But this was all condensed into like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And then we take a little bit of time because these outlaws, despite him revealing this ghostly Robin Hood party, they tie him to this tree.
Because they're going to sell him.
And then
I wasn't paying attention for a while. Then I was suddenly paying a lot of attention to what was happening on the screen because I did not see that coming.
I forgot about this. I don't know what to say. The tree just turns into like a horn dog. It turns into a tree woman and is smothering him with her breasts. And he's like, whoops.
What have I done?
It's absurd. But he's quickly saved by the unicorn.
Yeah. That was awkward.
It was such a weird moment. So anyway, Unicorn and Schmendrick are off. Molly sees them and she's like, hey, how dare you try to escape? And then has a full-on like midlife crisis breakdown in the middle of the road.
I was confused by this moment because I was like, I thought maybe I'd missed something in the previous scene, and I think I still don't understand, which is like, she's like, where were you for the last 20 years? Like, it's a parent that had like just resurfaced in someone's life. It was kind of weirdly emotional. Like, I was sort of like actually kind of taken by her emotional reaction. I just didn't understand why.
Yeah, it's a bit vague. I guess I sort of read it like, obviously a theme throughout this is like a loss of innocence and aging and death and sort of reality and fantasy. And I kind of took it like Molly's not had anything good or beautiful in her life. And maybe as women, you sort of want those things. And then at a certain point, you're like, well, it doesn't fucking matter anymore. You know, she's just hanging out with these like morons, feeding them while they're in their camp or whatever. That's kind of how I took it. I'm kind of simplifying it, but I don't know. Yeah, like it's something beautiful that she hasn't had.
I can understand like having an emotional reaction, but what confused me is it seemed like there was some kind of previously established relationship or connection, like kind of like as if she knew the whole story about the other unicorns that are in the water, and she's like, where the fuck were you?
Oh, interesting. I didn't read it that way. Okay. It was odd. It was odd. Again, maybe the book.
This movie is women being hysterical, so.
Okay. I said one thing about how the men are portrayed in this, and this is the rest of the podcast. All right. So, but yeah, she does get kind of hysterical, and then they mock Schmendrick because he kind of makes a fool of himself again, and then the Red Bull just shows up because they're like, oh, there's the castle, and then the Red Bull, it's sort of like Dracula style. He's like this red mist and then composes himself into this enormous, really intense, freaky looking bull and starts chasing her around. And Molly's like, fucking do something. And Schmendrick's like, what am I going to do? And then he's also like, if he wanted to kill her, he would have killed her already. He's trying to like herd her towards something. This was kind of a tense moment. The bull really scared me when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense looking bull. It looks cool. The animation's cool. Like, this is definitely a neat scene. It's sort of an action scene. And I like the design of that character. Yeah, it was neat.
Yeah. And then Schmendrick kind of tries to just throw something out there and ends up turning her into a woman, a naked lady. We see her butt. For a kid's movie, I was like, oh, and then I was like, wait, is this a kid's movie? I think it is supposed to be. They made them different back then.
The 80s were a different time.
Not like there's something inherently bad or shameful about a butt. I was just kind of surprised.
I mean, it's a naked, sexy anime girl. Like, the art style in this is like, you know, it was animated in Japan, and it kind of looks like an anime at multiple times. So I was like, she looks like an anime character.
She does. And I like a lot of the lines here. This is where shit starts to get really depressing. Like, Molly says, you've trapped her in a human body. She'll go mad. And I was like, wait, I'm kind of surprised this was written by a man because it feels very relatable. And like, she says she would rather die than be human. And she says, I can feel this body dying all around me. Oh my God.
Okay, so at first I thought she was maybe overreacting a little bit because I'm like, okay, he magicked you into a human. Surely he can magic you back. And he kind of says that. He's like, look, when the inspiration hits me, it'll be fine. We do later find out that there are like stakes to this. But the mortality thing, I was like, but don't they become mortal when they're not in the woods? So wasn't she mortal already? I feel
like it was like vampire style, where if she was out of her forest, she could be killed, but she wouldn't necessarily age and die.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
I could be wrong, but that's what I took away from it.
So, like, this is the transformation of this character from, like, I don't know, not a very likable person to now she's just, like, the most naive, helpless woman ever. Like, I am serious when I say, like, the I don't know, depiction of women in this movie is, like, not great.
Yeah, the women are portrayed as, like, kind of old crones or super naive, beautiful creatures. And then the men are portrayed as fucking idiots or predatory monsters. There's not a lot of in between in this story.
Everybody wins.
So they go into the castle. We meet two guards with their COVID masks on. And they say, we want to talk to King Haggard because that's who apparently knows what's going on with this bull. I like the faces in the walls up to the castle. Like, I like how this castle was designed, like the animation for it.
It's very spooky cool. And weird shaped.
Yeah. Very unsettling, a little odd, creepy. And then we realize, oh, the guards are actually Haggard and his son Lear. And Jesus, the contrast between these two at first made me laugh out loud because Christopher Lee's voice is so dramatic and powerful and deep. And then Lear's like, hey,
it's me, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like, in terms of voice acting performances, like, I would rank Christopher Lee's at the very top, and from the reading I did, he was like passionate about this movie. Like, he was very committed to it being good and brought his copy of the book into the recording sessions and like had opinions about what needed to be in the movie. Jeff Bridges kind of, I don't know, he sounded really flat to me. Like, just I was just picturing him in a booth reading the lines.
Yeah, I agree. It was noticeable. I don't know if Jeff Bridges has done any other voice acting. Voice acting is so different than like face-to-face or like film acting when you're actually on a screen. I think Jeff Bridges is great and I love watching him, but listening to him was maybe not... It was funny. Like, this character sounded like a dumbass. And, okay, I get that. We later find out that Lear was like a little porch baby. Like, he found him on a porch and took him in.
He's my adopted idiot son.
Yeah. But from where? Because Haggard has this very rich English accent, and then Lear sounds like a California surfer dude. I
don't understand this kingdom, what exactly it is, because there's 4 people apparently living in the castle when they get there. Like, I don't know what his territory is. Kind of seems like a very lonely place.
Well, I mean, Haggard is miserable. He truly looks haggard as fuck. That character is so gross. Oh, yeah. And then, so they meet them and are like, hey, we just want to be like work in the castle. And he's like, I don't know about that. And then we meet his magician, his in-house magician, who apparently knows Schmendrick. All the magicians, there's a guild, I guess. They all know each other. And the king's like, well, this guy's not doing it for me. You can get the fuck out of here. I'll give you a shot, Schmendrick.
Yeah, he just kind of fires him on the spot. And then he's like, you'll rue the day. And, forebodes that, like, you've brought your doom into the castle.
Yeah. But hey, look, Lear says he'll write him a reference.
Yeah, I saw in your notes that sort of, like, feels a bit anachronistic. And that was my reaction to it. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know that it worked. But, okay, so this was a little strange to me too. So the magician is like you said, you'll rue the day you've brought this dangerous thing into your house, but he's very vague. And then Haggard looks into Almafia. That's what her name is?
Almatea? Lady Almatea.
Almatea? Okay. So unicorn. He looks into her eyes and he sees all her little forest friends. He does not see his own reflection. And later on, he reveals, like, that's when I knew. Okay. How? What?
Well, he also says, like, the way she, like, walks and stuff like that. He knows.
I knew you were a unicorn the first time I saw you.
You can tell.
So he's just playing it cool for a while. And we get this weird music video montage. Lear is quite taken with the unicorn in human form and fucking brings her the head of a dragon. And she's like, ugh. And then Schmendrick dances with himself, tries to entertain the king. And the king's like, ugh. And then Lear is talking with Molly, and this guy's so annoying and needy. And he's like, oh, I almost regret killing this dragon. Like, what does a guy got to do? And Molly's like, I don't know, fucking talk to her, I guess. And he's like, nah, I don't think so.
Oh, no. That is not what happened. He says he's, like, trying to talk to her. He's like, I talked to her, and she just doesn't say anything. Like, I felt sympathy for him. Like, he's trying to wheel this sexy anime woman, and he's bringing her presents and trying to talk to her, and she just kind of like is like, I don't know, she just seems like she's going through some personal stuff. She clearly is. Her brain is scrambled from the transition to becoming a human, so she doesn't remember anything. She doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. So maybe he should be patient also, because she's like having a full-on crisis. She's just like staring at the sea all day.
How long? I wasn't clear on how long all of this is taking place over. Is this like 2 days or like 6 months?
Yeah, I don't know. How long does it take to track and kill a dragon?
He made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, he is a hero.
Yeah, exactly. He's got hero powers. And even Molly Grew is like, girl, look, Sky likes you. Like,
yeah. Can
you talk to him? Can you give him something?
Yeah, he's a prince.
Yeah. Think about your future.
Yeah. Look, you're not a magical unicorn anymore. You got to get real here.
You're not getting any younger. But, but that actually doesn't really make much sense, because Molly knows what's up, and that, like, she's got to figure this out, I guess, before she gets stuck as a human. So, like, the fact that she gives that advice kind of doesn't... Well, actually, no. I think she kind of does it because she wants his help in the whole thing they're trying to figure out. So strategically, it does make sense.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I was a bit confused about that too. But yeah, Unicorn in lady form, she's just like, she's so fucked. She sings this song, which I didn't love, but it was relatable. Some of the lyrics are, now that I'm a woman, everything is strange. Everything has changed. It was depressing as fuck. I was like, yeah, growing up and becoming a woman from a naive, innocent child, it's fucking shitty. Not just a woman, I mean anyone. But that hit pretty hard.
Yeah, that line stood out to me.
But she continues to be kind of a bitch to Lear.
And she's like shit talking Smendrick. She's just like, he's no magician. He's just the king's poor clown.
Yeah.
And Molly's like, he's trying to buy you time for your fucking mission. Remember? Oh, no, you don't.
This is also where we meet the pirate cat.
I love that cat so much. I love the cat. He's great. He's so cute.
Oh, purr. Do that.
His little eye patch and his little peg leg.
Again, what is this kingdom all about? He was full on talking pirate talk.
Why could everybody understand him though? He's like the one animal that like people can just like talk to.
I know. I was very confused about that as well. Maybe he was once a unicorn as well.
Yeah, not everyone turns into an anime lady.
It's got like a little like disabled cat.
He's like a pirate. He's been through some shit.
Yeah, he's got character.
I like that he's just like sort of unhelpful. He's just like giving stupid riddle answers. No cat gave anyone a straight answer, which like is accurate. Not that cats can give English language answers, but sometimes you don't know what the fuck they want when they're waking you up at like 6 a.m. for no reason. I already fed you.
Cats, man. So it's a pretty, I thought that the depiction of the cat was pretty accurate. They did one thing really, really well in this movie. So then we see Unicorn Girl again, just staring at the ocean again, and Lear's like, oh, I've got some poetry he's trying to write for her. And she's like, ugh. And then he starts singing, and then she gets fully on board. Suddenly, she, quote, knows the way. I guess, fellas, that's what you gotta do.
Look, write a couple poems and summon some doves while you're singing a song, and you got a shot. Yeah, like at this point, she's kind of like, her character is sort of morphing into a human and like starting to fall in love with him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just forgetting her whole unicorn past.
And her mission. Because, Schmendrick and Molly are kind of working their asses off to try to figure out, how do we do this? What is like going on with the king? We don't really see a lot of that. We mostly see the unicorn staring at the sea. Her sisters are calling her, but she can't recognize it.
Yeah, I guess she can't see the other unicorns in there.
Yeah, because so then we see Haggard again meeting her on the balcony where she's staring at the sea. And he says, like, well, first he says, okay, the creepiest line, love is slowing you down, my lady. I will catch you at last if you slow much more. Oh my God, what an awful man. So we here fully realize he's in control of this Red Bull. He asks her to look at the sea and see that she can't see shit. This is confusing to me because she seems very confused here.
I'm confused.
Why are you confused?
Well, I guess I'm a little confused as to like what Haggard is trying to get out of this. Like, so he wants to get her in the water through the bull, I presume. But also like she has turned human and is like clearly like morphing into a human and will like no longer be a unicorn. Isn't that bad for him, I guess? Like, does he want her to just like become a human and then become a like I don't know. I couldn't tell what outcome he was actually hoping for at this point.
Oh yeah, like if he wants her to turn back into a unicorn so she can be plopped into the sea.
Yeah.
Or if he wants to keep her as a woman, because I don't think he wants her and Lear to live happily after because he really shits on him here too.
Yeah, he does not seem to care about Lear at all.
And he does say, though this was fucking creepy too, when he's talking about the unicorns, he said, they fill me with joy. The first time I felt it, I thought I was going to die. Yeesh.
Yeah, his whole thing is like, he's like, when I was young, I saw the unicorns and then I captured them all and now I'm old and miserable. But when I look at the sea and I see the unicorns, I like am reminded of that time I was young and I'm like kind of feel happy again, which is like, that's dark. That's sociopathic.
Yeah, I don't fully understand. And I'm also confused about her because she does seem to be losing her memories of being a unicorn. And they talk about like, that's what the stakes are. Like she's going to totally forget and become a human. But then also when Schmendrick talks to her, like, we need to find where they are. We need to find the bull, whatever. She almost seems to recognize it. I don't know if it's just that we're supposed to understand that she trusts him and she's going along with it, or if she's just as confused as we are.
She seems to have like a momentary like lapse into remembering again and then kind of like it fading.
Yeah. But she goes with him and they go, I don't know where in the castle they are, but they come across this skeleton, which is one of the things I remember most about this from my youth because it scared me when I was younger.
Really?
It now makes, oh yeah. It's very unsettling. Like he's a weird character. I appreciate him now. Like now I laugh.
He's so sassy.
He really is.
He like is going nuts for that wine. The like fake water wine.
I think when I was a kid, I was like, why is he going so bananas for wine? I mean, now I understand.
Yeah, it's actually
coming from.
Kind of sad the way he's like, boy, he really needs that booze.
Yeah. I like how Schmendrick tells him, shut up, you pretentious kneecap. I'll punch you in the eye. Like, whoa. Some of these lines seemed very out of character for some of these characters. That was a lot. That was quite aggressive. This poor skeleton's just stuck on a ledge, jonesing for a high.
Bored hanging out there all day.
Yeah. Maybe the cat comes by once in a while.
They tell each other riddles.
Yeah. So they go through this, I don't know, tunnel to find the Red Bull. I don't really understand the point here. Like, are they trying to defeat the bull? Goad him out? Like...
Well, I think they have to defeat the bull so that the horses aren't scared.
Oh, the horses.
I know. I'll edit that out. No. I think that's what they need to do, though.
Yeah.
So I think that's the plan, is like, how can we take down the Red Bull? And then you get this weird moment where they're like, does she want to stay human? Is Jeff Bridges going to maintain a relationship with a horsey?
Jesus, this was weird. I love whom I love.
Love is love.
So very strange. And Schmendrick is straight up just like, okay, that's a nice sentiment, but... And he's like, I love whom I love.
Yeah, there's no ambiguity there.
I also love, like, they all go down there and then Lear finds them and they're like, how did you find us? And his line is, what's there to know? I saw where she was and I followed. Like, did we need those lines?
How did you figure it out? Oh, okay. Cool.
Anyway, that problem is solved. And then, she turns back into a unicorn and she fights the bull. She doesn't really fight him. She almost like goads him into the sea. Lear tries to be a hero and he gets knocked out. My question is, there seem to be thousands of these, hundreds at least, possibly thousands of these unicorns in the sea. She's the first one who it didn't really seem to take that much effort or time to goad this bull himself into the ocean or to the sea. So, what? The fight kind of starts and it doesn't seem like she's going to win it. And then she gets inspired and like her horn glows or whatever. And she's like, no, bull, you get in the water. But like, I don't know what exactly gave her that ability. Maybe the fact that she was human for a while, the power of knowing regret and mortality. Yeah, that's what I questioned. I was like, does she, after getting shit on for so long and realizing, like, has she gained strength that she didn't have before in her innocence? And now she has this power over the bull because she has that in her now? Like, is that the lesson? Like, yes, life is a dump truck, but like, hey, like, you're stronger for it. Ugh.
Maybe. It's not there in the movie. Maybe it's in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought this final showdown was kind of cool. My favorite line in the whole movie came here. What is the use of magic if you can't save a unicorn? I think that's pretty real.
Yeah, they're really getting in Schmendrick's face. They're like, do something. Fucking save the day. And he's like, I don't know how.
Yeah, yet again, he's like, what am I going to do? And he actually said that's what heroes are for. When Lear's like, yeah, I am a hero. And then he gets knocked out.
I kind of like that. I sort of thought that was kind of funny. that whole exchange.
And then, yeah, I mean, and then we see this chaotic wave of unicorns emerge from the sea and kind of engulf the bull. Bye, bull. All these unicorns stampede across this strange little crusty landscape that the castle is sitting on, and Haggard, that crusty nut, just falls into the rubble. And then we have our final goodbyes, and Molly and Schmendrick go off together, and the unicorn is like, thanks for the good times, Lear. I've got to go live my unicorn life.
You can't come with me. It's not going to work.
But a hero knows that. Remember? He's a hero now.
Yeah, he's certified.
I feel like the book maybe had more to flesh out Lear's journey as well. He was very unlikable in this movie. I feel like the book he may be more sympathetic.
I found him kind of sympathetic. I didn't find him unlikable. I just found him kind of not really explored, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But as Schmendrick says at one point, there are no happy endings because nothing ends. And, but it does end, and that's the end of the movie. I'm happy that I watched this again. It made me really happy in a nostalgic kind of way, like this was a much beloved film when I was growing up. I think there's some really interesting things about it. I like the animation. I think overall the story works, but watching this as an adult, I was like, yeesh, some of this is not cool. And I wasn't as much on the unicorn side as I used to be, because she's not very pleasant to other people.
She becomes like a kind of likable at the very end, because like she's like, oh no, now I know what mortality feels like, and I've experienced regret. And then Schmendrick's like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that, which he should have done that because like he saved her in that moment. But then she's like, no, it's okay, Schmendrick. And it's like, okay, finally. Finally some decency.
Yeah, she's not like mean. She's just kind of a snoot.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought I'd give this like 8.5 out of 10, but I'm only going to give it... This breaks my heart because I really loved this as a kid. It's still not bad. I still think it's worth a watch if people haven't seen it, especially for the animation and just... It's kind of a timestamp for like 1982 animation. I'm going to give it 6.5 harpy tits out of 10.
Oh, you ruined my thing. Yeah, I was like, it was kind of okay, you know? I'm glad I watched it, you know? I think had I seen this as a kid, well, in some ways it probably would have traumatized me or confused me sexually. But as, you know, the animation was really good. I like the music. The decision to have like the folk rock band playing all the music is like, that feels anachronistic, but like in a great way. I really like that. Mm-hmm. Really just the story was kind of a bit strange and messy. Like maybe had they taken, if they cut the squirrel song down from like, I don't know, 15 minutes to 1.
The squirrel song?
Oh no, sorry, he's not a squirrel. Yeah, the squirrel at the beginning. Oh no, he's a butterfly. Is he a butterfly? I wrote squirrel in my notes. I've like replaced him.
The butterfly, the little Robin Williams butterfly.
Yeah. Had they cut that down from, however long it was, like you could have cut some of that earlier stuff and like fleshed out, because really like the bulk of the story is in that castle. That's kind of where I sort of wanted to like understand what was going on a bit better. And the main character kind of goes from like, she's just sort of an unlikable person who everyone is helping, and she's just sort of like not very thankful or appreciative, and then she just turns into like a totally naive, clueless, lady who
shell of a woman.
Yeah, doesn't know what's going on. So like as a character, she's not really, I don't know, there's not much there, I guess. I think the performance was fine.
Yeah.
And the voice acting is hit or miss. Like I think Christopher Lee is really good. I do like that scene where he's explaining his sort of evil intentions and stuff like that. Like his performance there is really good. When he's like getting all pissed off because he's like, "I know you're a unicorn, say it," and she's like, "I don't know what a unicorn is. What are you talking about?" And she's like, she actually doesn't know because her brain is like she's lost her memories. Like that was pretty intense and pretty cool. Whereas like Jeff Bridges just sounded like he was in a vocal booth. And Schmendrick kind of confused me. Like, okay, another thing, I feel like the audio mixing was not great in this movie because the music I could hear clearly, but like dialogue just seemed like it was mixed lower than it should have been. Maybe that was just the version I watched. And like, yeah, Schmendrick's character was just really kind of flat. Didn't really do much for me.
Schmendrick always reminds me of David Duchovny for some reason. I don't know why. Do you kind of get where I'm?
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, like if they did a live action version of this 20 years ago, David Duchovny would be Schmendrick.
Okay, I'm into that. I like that idea. That's good. Yeah, so I don't know. Overall, it's interesting. It's not great. It's got a lot of problems, but it's entertaining and worth a watch. I'm going to give it 6 big chesty tree girlfriends out of 10.
Awesome. Okay, well, that was The Last Unicorn. Let us know what you thought of it. You can email us at xpostwatcho@gmail.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram at xpostwatcho. If you have a moment and wouldn't mind giving us a rating wherever you're listening to podcasts, that's much appreciated. And we welcome you back next week when we will be watching Slapshot. So gear up.